2 formation. Road change now, we go racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action is go.
This is very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in, this has all got trouble written all over it. This is G3 cars.
Drop downhill, they head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one off through the gravel. As wide as possible as they drop downhill, putting that truck inside line. Yes,
Oh, he did.
Through he goes.
Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to Race 7 here with Apex Online Racing Endurance... No, sorry, not the Endurance League. Straight away made a slip up. Gosh, straight away. Okay, let's start that again. Good evening, YouTube. Welcome to Apex Online Racing's GT3 series. This is round 7 here at the very currently wet Monza. Classic circuit, modern cars. It's going to be 90 minutes of intense racing. Not sure what the weather's going to be doing when it actually comes to the main race. Could be variable. And once again, you are joined by myself, Timasorus, and the man in the second seat, Cardinal. And this evening, I'm going to just say hello.
Hello.
There you go.
Hey,
you couldn't get me again. You couldn't get me with the hello, Cardinal. I stopped you in your tracks.
This man he's growing. Growing as a man. Great to be here. Thank you very much. Pleasure to join you as always in the commentary, virtual commentary box. And it is, as you mentioned, pouring down here at the Cathedral of Speed in Italy, Monza.
I mean, if it's this wet in the main race, I think everyone needs to have a spare set of pants for turn 1, because it is going to be a bit of a tight trouser moment. I think it's going to be a bit worrying, because that is an incredibly wet circuit. I can barely see tarmac for water, if I'm brutally honest.
The reflections coming off it as well. It looks fantastic, but it probably doesn't feel particularly fantastic in those cars. If last night's Tier 1 race was anything to go by, we need to pay a lot of attention right from the word go, because they had 3 wide into turn 1, accidents up and down the field. It wasn't pretty.
No. I think hopefully the Tier 2 guys, maybe they watched some of that, maybe they've obviously seen a couple of the stories in the Discord. Maybe they'll consider not going so hard on turn 1. Like we said, you've got plenty of time. There's lots of time. You don't need to rush it quite so much. But qualifying's underway, so let's see what happens, because they've all immediately poured out on top of each other in qualifying. So, I mean,
see that.
What do we expect? It's going to be madness, let's be brutally honest.
It is, and that's why we're here, and we're going to absolutely love it. But what are we expecting? What do we expect from tonight? This is the penultimate race of this season. These drivers are fighting for a place in Tier 2, hoping for positions in Tier 1, I presume. Hoping for a strong finish to the championship. Anything could go wrong in this variable weather. And I think we're going to see a different levels of performance from different cars as well than we've seen in other tracks.
Well, I think the
Going
last...
by...
Oh, no, carry on.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the last wet race we had, full wet race, would have been Nürburgring. I think was probably our main wet race. Although, did we have some moisture at Zandvoort? I can't remember off the top of my head.
We had a wet start at Zandvoort and it quickly dried up.
Right, yes, we did. So I think Nürburgring was the main one. And obviously that being a 90-minute race as well. That stayed pretty soggy for quite a decent amount of time. And looking back quickly now through the previous points, I want to say that it was Shabalanov. He did really well in the wet, so he got first position, and second place in that race was Borgodisky. So those two could do quite well this evening. They've obviously proved that they can do very well in the wet. Matt York as well did really well in the wet at Nürburgring, so it'll be interesting to see if they can do a repeat of that sort of thing.
Interesting you mentioned that. The two, well, Shelbanov and Borgodisky, I think they were first and third in the practice session as well, so clearly quite comfortable with these conditions. Pitchik down in fifth, a little further back down in that big Bentley. The Boatley, as you'd think, would cope well with this, but we will see.
Fingers crossed. Nageri is actually our first man on a flying lap, so I mean, but I doubt those tyres are up to attempt to do any kind of decent speed yet. Just jumped into the helicam so we can get a bit of a better look over everything as the guys are doing qualifying. But this is technically going to be the first time set by Nagera at the moment, or Nageri, sorry. Having a quick look at the championship points. Obviously, at the moment, Shabalanov is up in pole, but one position behind him is Pitchik, and he has been on a fair old charge. He's had a first, a second, a fifth, a second, and a fourth, so he's proven himself very consistent. Meerveld, another one of the fan favourites, he's in third position in the championship. Hasn't had a podium yet, but he's been, like, again, been very sort of consistent, always inside the top 10, always bagging points. But I think one of the main men to keep an eye on is Caracas. He's only done 3 races. He did a 13th after he ran out of fuel at Nürburgring, even though I think he was in 5th before that. But then he's had a first and a second. So if he continues this charge, he is flying up through the order. I think he's going to struggle to catch up with this little of the season left, but he is definitely one to look out for. Definitely a man not to take for granted. Even though he's a bit further back in the championship, he is climbing very quickly.
We see Noguera just absolutely pummeling over those curbs in the Boatley. You mentioned Caracas, and I think Rage, the commentator from Tier 1, was suggesting that I was some kind of fan on Saturday when we had our maiden Endurance League race at Barcelona, Catalonia. And Caracas finished second until a penalty dropped him down to 4th after starting 12th. So in amongst all the Tier 1 drivers and some drivers new to the AOR community, he really made a big impression and done very well with his teammates. Caracas was 16th at the last round, but a second place bumped him up to 9th this time around, and is probably very capable of going further up the order tonight. And to mention the endurance race on Saturday, a number of these drivers, Noguera, who we're mentioning, was there on the night as well. I think he finished 12th. So some of these drivers finished really strong performances in amongst the top tier guys as well.
It was obviously I was unable to actually view it live and take part in the commentary for this one. Sadly, I had some holiday booked as well, but I will be back for the rest of them. But yeah, from what I saw back, it's really good to see the Tier 2 drivers up there and really sort of, punching above their weight with the Tier 1 drivers, and it just shows how close together these guys really are. It's really good to see all across the tiers, all getting stuck in and racing nice and close together. Not just Tier 1s being complete aliens and everyone else being sort of, what's left. Oh, Cadil just put in a low 155 and put himself on pole after Shabalanov, as they put in his flying lap was very much untouched for quite a while. But Cadil, that's a great lap. A 155.1.
Just 1 second separates first to 19th. J-Fang and Cadil up there, and these times will obviously drop down. There's no sign of the rain stopping, by the way. It's heavy pouring, track temperature of 18 degrees. And I was just touching on Royf, Yannick Royf of the Pace Hub team, also raced in the Lamborghini on Saturday for the 9 hours of Barcelona, and is also doing well in his Lamborghini. And there's Shabanov back on top with Van Meerveld in second. Those McLarens setting the pace early on in this session.
I'm really surprised because obviously the curbs here are quite aggressive. Oh, it's had a bit of a weird moment going on with the connection. What's going on there with those cars? I think they're sorting themselves out now. Yeah, I'm surprised to see these mid-engine cars doing so well.
Indeed, Jonathan Watts puts himself right up there in the Mercedes. Oh, I love this competitive Royf there. And there's Matt Whitburn and immediately Bogaritsky. Times are changing. The provisional pole is changing every few seconds here. It's difficult to keep up.
I can't keep the leader on the screen. I'm sort of chopping and changing so quickly. Gonna have a little bit of a jump on board with who's had Roof in the Lamborghini, as it's the most dominant Lamborghini out there on the circuit at the moment. And we haven't seen it dominate the circuit really since any of these tracks really, and since the first race at Kyalami, where Renoir absolutely destroyed the field in his, and obviously stayed on pole pretty much from turn 1 or 2, and just no one touched him the whole race. So pretty interesting to see another Lambo at the top. Sort of a slightly unloved car, isn't it? I don't know why, but you don't see many of them. It's that and the Audi. You don't tend to see many of them in the top tiers.
And I would have thought this would be a great track for the Lamborghini, but obviously this rain is a bit of a neutralizer across the field for a number of advantages that some cars may have, and it's going to benefit others. But I would expect the Aston Martins to feel comfortable in these conditions, but with such long straights, I don't know if they're going to be always fighting up for there. And Rodriguez, currently the best Aston, up in 8th. Royf coming into the pit lane now. Maybe wants a fresh set of tyres. Maybe the tyres are starting to overheat in qualifying conditions. Maybe they got their setups, optimized for a particular stint. But
would
we
imagine
have a yellow flag. Yeah.
Oh, we do have a yellow flag. Not sure where on the circuit that
I think it's cars just stopping at the start-finish straight. Car number 77. No, he's in the pits. 732, Ryan Ronar in the pits. Everybody's stopping for fresh tyres for one more crack at this.
There we go. Yellow flag has dissipated as well now. Having a quick look at the chats before we get too much into everything. Have a good race from Matthias. Matthias? I'm pretty sure that's pronounced Matthias. Apologies if it's not. Feel free to give me some abuse as always. Alex saying, not the Temple of Speed, he's calling it the Temple of Rain. Yes, it's, well, who knows what the actual race might be like. It might be slightly drier as the settings will correct themselves again. Ooh, short yellow flag then, but it went away. And then we've got Byron, sorry, my apologies. He is shouting out Bruno and then saying, Cadil just spent 4 hours in the rain round Spa for SimGrid this weekend. Oh, so he's only just put down the racing wheel. I don't imagine his blisters have gone yet if he's just done 4 hours.
Cadil, you're killing me.
Where is Cadil?
My goodness, I hope you've got a nice pair of gloves to protect those hands.
Where is Cadil? He is currently down in 12th. Let's bang him on the screen. I mean, he's in the White Rabbit Gaming livery. As you may have noticed, all the liveries look a little bit different this week, and you'll be pleased to know I finally solved my weird livery issue. It was all my fault. None of the drivers, entirely me. So apologies to anyone that's been upset that they haven't been able to see their correct liveries, and I'm sorry it's so late in the season, but I know what the issue is to solve it for next time. So we're all good. Everyone's got it up. So, oh, actually, Cadil dropped down to 14th now. Just have a look. Matt York, as we said, did really well last time in the wet at Nürburgring. Got himself up into 8th place. So really strong qualifying from him. That's probably one of his best qualifying positions, I think.
Yeah, and Arquette Rodriguez trying to make me eat my words by sending that Aston Martin up into 4th. One thing I expected was maybe a good performance from the Ferraris at their, pretty much their home Grand Prix. Bogoritsky, sorry, Nikita up in 3rd right now, looking really strong. 1/10 off Shalabanov up top. I have a question for you, Timasorus.
Go for it.
The name of the last corner. It was recently changed, and Rage in Tier 1 had wasn't sure what to call it last night.
I mean,
How about yourself?
I would say the final corner.
I mean, it's traditionally called the Parabolica, right?
Yeah, that's what I've got on the track map that I've got up currently. I've got it as Parabolica. What has it been changed to now then?
So I believe they've changed it to Curva Alboreto.
Right.
I think that's how you pronounce it. But do we call it that? Do we respect that? Do we stick to Parabolica, given that technically this track in-game is from 2019? I mean, if we really want to get specific.
I would say I've got it on the map that I'm working off of. It's called Parabolica, but I'm probably going to end up calling it the last turn, final turn, or turn 8, just because it's just a lot easier to say that than trying to remember all the different names and stuff. I know Ascari. I remember Ascari just because I don't know why. I just do. But
I just remember this named after Michele Alboreto. Ferrari wanted the rename to remember Michele and his time with Ferrari, so there is history. But there we go. So we are into the last 2.5 minutes. We have another yellow flag, which is just quickly cleared. Who is on a hot lap?
Back again.
Currently,
I think, isn't it, a yellow flag. I think it's just come back. I'm not sure who that is.
Is that number 20?
That's someone on the coming out of Ascari, I think, has just a yellow flag there, haven't they?
I think that's Caracas. Caracas is stopped on the track. And this is a nightmare session for Grantes, who we gave a big build-up for at the start of this qualifying session and is now down in 25th. And if he's carrying any damage, that's really going. He might have one more lap, but his car might be affected. His tires might be cold.
Quite possibly. I didn't see when he came out, but yeah, he's 32 seconds down on his sector times at the moment. So this certainly will not be a good one. And actually, I've just noticed the ambient temperature has dropped 1 degree, so it's not getting warmer. So
Bruno Cadil. Oh, we got a new pole sitter.
Oh, indeed. Let's have a quick look. Ski. Who is this? Murdazov. So we haven't really seen any of him in the top 10 so far into qualifying, but a bit like last week, a surprise in the top 10. Fantastic job. But there you go. 3 mid-engine cars currently on the podium with 1 minute and 13 left to go.
Absolutely. We've got Pavel Jarboski on a fast lap, just about he's got half a lap to go and he's a 10th up. James Cowley also a 10th up in 5th. These guys 3rd and 5th. Jarboski up 2 tenths now. Where is our championship 2nd place driver, Pitchik?
He's
holding
currently
down the order right now.
In 15th place, isn't he? He was up 15th. On his time, I think. He's just coming into Parabolica.
Parabolica. I think Jarboski's on a fast lap here. 2-3 tenths up. Maybe didn't get the run out of
Matt Whitburn
out of Ascari he wanted.
5 up, so running in 13th now, but that is definitely going to change. I'm going to jump on with him after this. Pitching up to 7. Oh, where has he gone? Everything's just suddenly jumped around and changed, so...
Oh, you called it. Matt Whitburn to 2nd, ahead of the 2 Russians, Shalabanov.
That was a big effort. That was really good. I think he's staying out for 1 more, is he not? Looks like it. So he obviously thinks he can go quicker.
We got 2 yellow flags on the field. Looks like number 65. Nope, has pulled into the garage, so yellow flag cleared.
So
a tire killer instead says Wizzy.com, and maybe we'll see if anyone can pull out any faster times on these tires.
Oh, there we go. Matt Whitburn, I think, just made a mistake and he's gone off through the chicane. Oh no, sorry, I do a mistake. There was someone else behind him in the white McLaren. Went off in the background there, so not sure who that was. But took a little bit too much curb on entry and made a little mistake. But Matt Whitburn up on his time again by 0.1. It might have just leveled
Tim,
off.
We're going to see some change of times here. We have 5, 6, 7 drivers all in green on faster times.
Yeah, Rodriguez is 0.3 up on his time. And who's that? Jay Fang as well was up. I think he was 0.2 a moment ago. So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens at the end of this. Like I said, I think we could see a bit of a change.
Bogoroditsky in the pit, it looks like. Yannick Royf, a 10th up as well. That won't be enough. Maybe take him up. Rodriguez puts it on 7th. Royf might overtake him though.
10. But I am slightly wondering, do you want to be in the lead pack for this turn 1, or is it better to be a little bit further back? Right, so Whitburn,
that's interesting,
in 2nd place. Who else is out there on a fast lap? Roof coming across the line now. Any improvement? Yeah, up into 5th. So that's a good position. I think that's everyone else that's on a current green lap.
Nikita Bogoroditsky down in 11th. He was 2nd, or about 5 minutes ago. He was 2nd.
So currently he is 4th in the championship. So starting a bit further back down. He won't be overly pleased about that. Yeah, outside the top 10 now, just behind Caracas, who sort of, like we said, was having a bit of a stinker earlier on, has got himself right on the tail end of the top 10 there. So not a bad effort from him whatsoever.
I think we have to commend Igor Murtasov, who has put this right on pole. Congratulations.
Absolutely fantastic
currently,
effort.
It is a tremendous effort. Where is Igor in the championship? 35th, with a previously just a 9th and a 19th place finish. Hasn't taken part in the last couple of Grand Prix, so welcome back. Back with a bang.
I mean, what a way to come back. Instantly putting himself, I say, right at the front. And it's fantastic to see. It's absolutely brilliant to see these guys doing it. So let's have a quick read through and we'll see who we've got. I've just pressed something and now I can't find my mouse. There it is. Right, so Murdazov on pole. Then in 2nd is Whitburn. 3rd is Shabalanov. 4th is Yarabowski. 5th is Roof. Kadil in 6th. Watts up in 7th. Rodriguez down in 8th. 9th is Nagari. Rounding out the top 10 is Caracas. So then 11th is Bogodowski. 12th is Jay Cowley. 13th is fan favourite Mirveld. 14th is McLeod. Pichik in 15th. Marak in 16th. And 17th is Matt York. 18th is Steinhauser. 19th Climbs. And rounding out the top 20 is our coordinator, Dor. So brilliant top 20. Did you want to carry on from that point onwards?
Certainly, 21st, Vinco Saritze. He also took part in the endurance race. Daniel Fernandez in 22nd in the last McLaren in the field. Rand Ronar in the lovely looking Lamborghini. 22nd, Jay Fang down in 23rd. Is Mercedes. Visibly easy to spot out there in the bright orange livery. Sheldon Muscat, 24th. Nico Veldman in 25th, fluorescent yellow car. Mark Bastida in 26th. And rounding up the field, Steve Favre. And Bruno Cadil's just appeared at 28th for me.
Yes.
I thought Cadil was further up the field.
Yes, I thought he was as well. But he has got a red connection bar. So I wonder if maybe he disconnected and now he's had to rejoin and thus lost his qualifying time, possibly. Feel free for someone to yell at me and say that's not a thing. But, yeah, but it's a shame to see him so far back. Because, yeah, he was really quite dominant in qualifying, wasn't he? He was definitely, well, so judging by that, he didn't put in a time whatsoever. So
6th place. We now have a gap up at the front in 6th. So who have we got in 8th? I think it's Niguera now has a clear piece of tarmac in front of in front of himself for
It's Rodriguez, I think, actually.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's got himself a lovely clear line. I mean, that's unless, of course, Watts comes across and tries to go for the outside into turn 1. I mean, if I'm brutally honest, is it better to be inside or outside on turn 1 here? I mean, we've got what looks like rain for the first at least half an hour of this race. So
Absolutely.
it's going to be a bit tight, I think. It's going to be a little bit on the tight side.
And remember, this is a longer race than we usually see in the championship, the second of the season, and for the last 90-minute race. What we saw last night in Tier 1, AO Rose in second. Good start, but people try to make it up the middle, where Jarbowski is right at the moment, made a play in between the front two, 3 wide into turn 1, and it was second place who lost out the most. So Matt Whitburn will need to be careful tonight.
Yeah, outside, very easy to get pushed up into that escape road. I mean, if you've committed to the turn in as well, then you're not going to make the escape road. You're going to end up going off. So out onto the warm-up lap. Going to be pretty interesting to see what kind of things they're going to be doing, sort of swerving-wise, trying to get temp in the tyres. Just having a quick look now. Track temp is 20, so it's slightly warmer than it was in qualifying and practice. So that might affect some people's setups. We've seen it before where people have had overheating tyres, especially with wets on. Very easy, especially if it starts to dry up.
Oh, we almost already have bumps down at turn 1. Indeed, we do. I think Rodriguez and Noguera.
I mean, thank God it ghosts for this. You could ghost into each other for the warm-up lap at least.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So luckily, hopefully, no one can do too much. But you can still make a mistake, and you can just go off. So,
Indeed. How do they realistically warm the tires in this kind of temperature?
I don't even know what you can do. I mean, I guess you just pretty much just run with the brakes on, try and get a load of heat into the brakes and let it dissipate out into the tyres. I mean, because you can't really wind the traction control too far down, obviously, because it's so wet out there. You're not going to get any grip, or you're only going to heat up your rear tyres. Your fronts are still going to be ice cold in these sort of conditions.
And another thing, well, if you do try and weave the tyres, as I see Vincenzo Cerizzi giving a go right now, you're running into pools of water, little puddles, aquaplaning. You're off the line where qualifying's taking place, and now the warm-up lap, it's going to be wetter in those. Are you really warming the tyres? Oh, it's going to be tricky first lap.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any kind of dry line out there whatsoever. I mean, there's not even a visible racing line at the moment. It's pretty much a case of they're just going to be like skimming stones across a pond, I think, for this first lap. And they just jump back to the midfield to try and keep a bit of an eye on everybody.
We got some Mopper Milan on chat saying, "Come on, Renoir, Team Ryan." Love to see some fans out there.
Renoir is in 21st place. So just having a quick hover over him now.
And Byron, yeah, absolutely. We're not sure what has happened. Bruno Cadil, very fast, seems to have the pace here in the wet, but for some reason bumped down to 28th.
The only upside to this is we might see him doing some pretty amazing moves to get back up through. But if he is still struggling with connection, which it looks like he might be on my screen, I can see that connection bar is significantly longer and more amber than anyone else. Yeah, there is the possibility if he's trying to go wheel to wheel with people and he's got connection issues, sort of rubber banding might be a bit of a problem, so he might end up picking himself up a penalty through no fault of his own, or he might just have to play it a bit safe and just wait and see what happens.
I tell you what, we'll have a Cadil cab. We'll check in. We've got to check in every now and again. How far can Cadil get up the field from 28th? And we already have a car into the ball. Let me try find that yellow Mercedes. They've rejoined, but somebody has bumped. Just skidded off in the straight and bumped the wall.
Fang. I'm trying to think who. I mean, his is orange technically. Oh, no, I did see a yellow Mercedes. Who was?
I think it's Veldman. I think Veldman had just a little off, or maybe Steve Favre.
Right, final run to the line now, gentlemen. Here we go. It's wet. Can they keep the composure? Running over the grid boxes now. It's all down to this. Oh, they're off. Here we go. Matt Whitburn manages to hold onto his line on the outside, but it does look like Shabanov is starting to close up ever so slightly. They're all squeezing in.
Oh, we got 3 wide further back.
Yep, I'm just trying to keep a bit of an eye as well. It looks like Rodriguez has got the inside line.
2 by 2 by 2. Everyone trying to fit in.
It looks like they're being reasonably respectful. It only looks too wide. Maybe the back of the field. Oh, who was that? That was, I think that was Nageri off on the grass on the inside. So whether he ran out of room, but that has meant that this little leading pack has broken away. But Whitburn, I believe, up into pole position. Oh, letting the cameras. Oh, but Matisov looks at the inside. And he makes a mistake there.
And an opportunity for Shalabanov.
Oh, it's all over the place. It's properly close right now. Staying obviously on the helicam at the moment to try and keep a little eye. Yaroboski instantly on the tack as well, trying to get up behind Shabanov. Oh, Matt Whitburn looks to have made an absolute perfect set moves through turn 1 and turn 2. And there's a yellow flag towards the back of the field. Not sure who that is. And a couple of guys straggling at the back.
This is a wonderful opportunity for Matt Whitburn. He needed to get past Murtasov on this first lap, but do it cleanly. Currently 12th in the championship. Hasn't finished on the podium yet, but has had some wonderful finishes. At some 4ths, a couple of 6th places. Great opportunity here in the McLaren 1, 2 and 3.
What have we said? Whitburn, yeah, absolutely flying away at this point. He's already broken free of the pack. I mean, whatever his setup is working well straight out the gate. He's obviously either braver or got better tyre temps.
We've got a couple, almost a spinner. Rodriguez gives Jonathan Watts a little touch and has lost out 2 positions to Caracas, who is up to 8th, and Boroditsky is also up to 9th. Those two, I seem to remember being a little further back on their qualifying positions.
Yeah, definitely slightly further back. I think Caracas was 10th, wasn't he? So he's already gained 3 positions. And yet Rodriguez has really lost out a few in a fan favourite Mirveld. Also now trying to go around the outside. Nope, decides not to. Nageri having a battle with Matt York as well, a little bit further back. Let's have a quick jump on with those two. Obviously Nageri had a bit of a terrible turn 1, turn 2 chicane. Ended up getting pushed to the inside and was on the grass. Lost a lot of positions. Obviously now running in 13th, but trying to hold on to the outside against York. So he's got the inside into turn 3, or turn 4, sorry. Can he hold on to it?
Nagera, oh, that's tight.
York gave him room, but not enough. Not enough to gain. Oh, but look at the line he's got. Absolutely flying out of that chicane.
He's got to be careful with the water on this track, but he's got the inside line. Superb drive out of that corner. But York sticking with it and hanging it around the outside, but I think he's going to be I think he was going to be robbed, but he's still alongside. 3 corners a row, these guys side by side. Incredible.
Still there. I mean, to be fair, really respectful driving for the pair of them. I mean, they've been side by side this entire time. No one slamming the door on each other. Oh, but yeah, Nagera finally gets in front. Manages to just get the move done. Coming into this second chicane. Absolutely brilliant move.
Superb racing, absolutely, Tim. And let's see, up at the front, we got Shalabanov making a move on Murtasov. Round Curva Alvaredo and Murtasov going back. Also, Jarbowski taking the position too. And
ooh, bit wide there from Roof, but I think he might be holding it together. But, I mean, who does Murtasov defend from? He's got Watts and Roof all over him. Oh, what's
happening,
there?
Roof?
Roof is all over the place, isn't he? He was on the grass then, so whether he might be having some sort of issues, because he has dropped back, and I think, is that Watts or Caracas that's now trying to pull through?
Little bump there, Roof with another McLaren of...
In fact, I have lost Roof from my timing screen. Where has... Well, in-game... Oh, no, he's back. That was odd. Roof disappeared from my timing screen for a little moment then. He's now back down into, I presume, 6th place, because Caracas is in 7th, and he's right behind Roof. Yes, there we go. So, timing screen has sorted himself out. I'm not sure what was going on there. Cadil up to 21st. So
Cadil Cam,
Yeah,
21st.
Cadil Cam.
Just to say, Roof and Caracas had a little touch in the chicane at turn 1, so maybe that was playing with the positions.
Right.
It was almost a spin, but they both held it. Sorry, Cadil Cam.
Let's go to Cadil Camp. Where is he? So he was 21st position. Let's have a quick look, Ski. Oh, there it is. Yes, let me click on him now. For a little moment, it wasn't quite so keen. But like I said, he has got that red bar next to his name. And I think it's showing he's not showing particularly smooth on circuit. I mean, for him, it probably looks fine. But for us watching him, he is a little bit squiffy.
A little surprised, just while we're on with Cadil, Pitchick, 23rd position.
Okay, let's quick jump back on Pitchick, who
Major.
we can finally see Pitchick's amazing livery, and I'm so sorry it's taken so long. But yeah, he is really struggling this time out. He's got Climbs flashing the lights behind him, obviously saying, mind out the way, mate, I am much quicker than you at the moment. So whether or not maybe he's carrying a little bit of damage or something, I'm not sure. I can't see any damage on that Bentley. It appears to still be all intact.
Wow, check out that livery, huh?
It's a little bit snazzy, isn't it? It's very snazzy. Just quickly double check.
It's such a contrast to Jan Climbs' very lovely, clean white and red livery too. And yeah, and as we say that, Climbs, I think, fancies a little dive into T1 here.
He's got the inside, hasn't he? So can he do it under braking? It's going to be... No, he can't. Gets on the brakes a little bit earlier, so maybe he just decided it wasn't worth the risk and he reckons he can do it somewhere else on the circuit.
I think he'll need a good run on Pitchick. He seems to be a pro on those brakes in that Bentley.
I mean, I'm sort of intrigued as to how the Porsche is doing in the wet. Obviously, you think not much weight on the front end. It's going to make it quite difficult to get any kind of grip, especially in these chicanes and everything with the slightly slower speeds. But he's managing to hold it together at the moment. Just quickly jumping on with our pole man, Whitburn, who is starting to pull away. Got himself, ooh, what are we looking at here? A gap of, well, 2.5 seconds. So in these conditions, already an absolutely fantastic effort. Just, well, about 7 minutes of the race done. And
impressive from Matt Whitburn, indeed. That is a strong race. Sorry, go ahead.
Just saying, and then obviously the battle for sort of second, third and fourth is all pretty close as well. Shabanov, Yarabosky, Murdazov, obviously he's going to be disappointed. He started on pole and obviously now he's off the podium currently, and Watts in that leading Mercedes is not giving up. Oh, but a mistake there from Yarabosky. Went very deep on the brakes. Managed to recover, but I think we might see a move from Watts. Is he close enough to be on the toe? I'm not entirely sure he is.
Only 1/10 in it, and Jaboski, as you say, wide around Parabolica Alboreto. And what is Murtasov going to have a go? Is Watts going to have a go? Is it just too crowded in there? Caracas on Rodriguez just further back.
Oh,
or
yes.
Rodriguez.
Let's jump on board.
But
With
that's
this.
a move
there's an
by
incident.
Rodriguez.
Incident in the back as well. Who was that? That looked like
Gornitsky
Borgodowski and maybe Jay Cowley. Yeah. Outdid themselves under braking. And Roof getting through that well. But Meerveld, I think he dropped to 11. I think he may have been slightly caught up in that bit of mess that was going on as well. But Roof seems to be...
Fan favourite.
Yeah, fan favourite. Roof appears to be on the charge again. But yeah, now...
He's had a difficult start. I wonder if it's just the Lamborghini, you know, tricky to get the tyres up to temperature here, as opposed to these McLarens that seem to be absolutely on it.
They do seem to be quite a dominant force this season, don't they? We've seen McLarens up in the top 5, top 10 in most races this time round. I think it was Mazzano where they really showed their true colours. We saw Boatleys do very well in qualifying, and then when it came to the actual race, I'm pretty sure it was the... Or am I thinking the wrong way around? It might have been the other way around on those ones. I do apologise, my brain's a little bit fuzzy. It was a couple of weeks ago now, the Mazzano race. But I'm sure we saw some... Noguera, really wide. He's on the back of our fan favourite Meerveld. Looks like he's going to try and maybe go around the outside into turn 8.
I think with 90 minutes of this race, we're only 10 minutes in. I think we're going to see some penalties for track limits around the Ascari there. There's some drivers going well wide. maybe not on purpose, but they'll have to pay attention to that, not do that too often.
Well, I think it's where they're running that curb, aren't they, on the inside, and it's pushing the cars out, and they're desperately trying to stop the oversteer. But, oh, yeah, looking like Nogueira might be able to make a move into T1. Matt York there as well, hoping to close the gap under braking. Who is that as well coming up behind them? That is Jake Cowley as well. So 2 Astons, really sort of like looking like they're trying to make an effort to get inside that top 10. Mirvell just being able to break away slightly from Nogueira into, well, through turn 1 complex. So let's have a quick look at the battles near the front again.
Yeah, we have Murtasov, Watts, and Jabowski. 3 astern, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes.
Say these 3, they sort of seem to concertina up and down a fair bit, don't they? As Jarabowski managed to hold on to 3rd place. And we thought he'd lost it a couple of laps ago through obviously that final turn down at Parabolica. I thought he'd lost it, but Watts looks like he's got a very good run now. In fact,
Murtasov had a little wiggle coming out of that straight, and Watts absolutely feels like he has the pace. He's opting for the outside. Murtasov takes a different defensive position. Watts has to back out of it there. There's going to be no room through here, those curbs.
Say on board with him now, looking from his dashboards, and good lord, you just cannot see anything. The rain absolutely covering the screen, wipers going flat out, the spray coming off the back of that McLaren is absolutely diabolical. I mean, you can barely see the brake lights when they're coming on. There's no difference in them. Oh, it looks like it's a little bit sideways. Yeah, it's a beautiful view, isn't it? I think this and looking over the rear wing of a car, I think is possibly my favourite views in this game. Shabalinov is on a decent lap. He was 0.1 up then, so he's obviously putting in a decent time. Can we see anything from Watts here into turn 1? I don't think he's quite close enough. Wait and see what happens on the brakes.
I think Jonathan Watts has some pace here today, proving I think it's difficult to necessarily overtake unless you get a great run, because any other line is going to be soaking wet with the pools of standing water. But it just looks like Jonathan Watts has the pace to maybe make him a big impression on this race today.
I reckon by the end of the race we could see him possibly battling for podium. But what we are going to do is move away from him for a moment, just because I fear we'll end up giving him the commentator's curse. We're going to jump back on through this mid-pack now. So we've got, well, I mean, this is a massive battle here, isn't it? So, sort of, oh, actually, Mirveld has caught up with the back of Roof and Borgodowski. These guys have closed back up the gap. We sort of saw Roof and Borgodowski going after the back of Caracas earlier, but Caracas seems to have broken away from them slightly. And now it's very much looking like Mirveld is on the attack. Actually, I think we might almost see a move here down into Ascari. Yeah, he's looking to the inside. Roof is not covering it, but Roof much later on the brakes.
That would be a brave move, and as you say, Mirveld absolutely fancies it here on Roof. And if you could just keep out, and Nogueira and York go well wide there out of Ascari, and I think that's James Cowley's got past Nogueira. James Cowley says, thank you very much. I will take that and move on to Matt York next. Thanks.
There's Stuart McLeod as well. He is now on the back of Nogueira, isn't he? He's really sort of like trying to get his boot in car number 69.
This is a real opportunity for any driver here today. Stuart McLeod is 26th in the championship. His highest finish of the season was an 18th right at the start of the season. He's an experienced AOR community member from Scotland, nicknamed Detox. Look at this, 14th.
Really good effort, really good effort. And say, like we said, these mid-engine cars, things like the Ferrari, always a little bit skittish on curbs in the dry, let alone in the wet. So keeping these things in the straight line is quite an effort.
I should say the McLeod is an experienced racer. In previous seasons, he does have plenty of podiums throughout his career, so he is a quick gentleman.
So he's no stranger. He's no stranger to a champagne shower, which is nice. It's always very nice. I'm just having a bit of a look at some other guys. So Marak is trying to hang on to the back of McLeod as well, and seems to be doing a decent job. He's got Dorr, who... Oh, Dorr's dropped down quite a few positions, hasn't he? I think he was qualifying in 10th, and he's down to 17th. So whether the Audi's just not switching on as quickly as he wanted to, say just over 15 minutes of this race done.
Yeah, Jan Climbs fancies a move on Pitchick down in 23rd, going into Ascari.
Let's have a look at these guys.
All over the back of Pitchick, who
It's
must
close.
be carrying some kind of problem or setup issue here today. Because we've seen Pitchick pull off consistent,
Oh, it's
fast
3 wide
performances.
further up the circuit. I think I'm going to have to quickly jump on with these guys.
Cadil
this?
Cam in action. Jay Fang on the grass and
no!
off.
He's off! Big spin, he's hard on the brakes, trying to hold it under place, but... Oh no,
Oh, and
Climbs! Just don't
Oh,
think Climbs
no.
couldn't see him. Climbs could not see him. He was right on the back of Pitchick there, and then dived to the inside to make a move, and there was a standing car.
And that's possibly one of the fastest sections of the track. I think Jan Climbs is... I think he's quit. I can't click him anymore.
Okay, that was not what he wanted. Oh, just noticed Pitchick into the pits, so maybe he was carrying damage, because that is very early to do his mandatory.
It is, and obviously these cars are allowed to refuel this time, given the race distance. Otherwise, half the field wouldn't finish. So, strategy could well play a part here today. Maybe Pitchick has things to change here. I don't think he was caught up in that incident we just saw between Climbs and Jay Fang.
Oh, that was a real shame, wasn't it? Jay Fang is in the pits, so he is currently still there, I presume, going through what can only be described as an absolute month-long set of repairs. Renoir, I think we've lost Renoir. Favre we still have. Just having a look down here at the bottom of the grid, seeing who we've lost. So yeah, Climbs I can no longer go for. So I think that Steve Favre is... Well, Jay Fang is now our running last position at the moment, running in 26th place. I say, very unlucky. He went off. I don't think he was nudged off. I think it was just over pushed himself and went on the grass. They were 3 wide, not a lot of room down that back straight. And like we said, he was just sat in a really dangerous spot, but he had nowhere to go. He just had to hold the brakes. And then, yeah, as you see, a car dives out from behind another. Totally blind dive, and it just did not go his way. Oh, talking of battles going on, we've got Watts going up the inside of Murdazov into turn 1. He's made it work under braking. Can he hold on to it? I think he can.
Jay Watts has got past Rodriguez and Murdasov.
He has, hasn't he? He was behind Rodriguez, wasn't he, as well? So yes, he is. Yeah, great
Man
effort.
on the move in the JSR Motorsport car. And now, further up the field, Jarbowski is all that's between him and a podium position right now. Just looking at the chat, Alexander Irish couldn't make it in time. That is very disappointing. I'm sorry to hear that, Alexander. And Simon Krask, good racing. It absolutely is. We're seeing some terrific battles. Murdasov gets a wiggle out there, and I think Rodriguez will fancy it, a little effort, but tight section of the track, difficult to make any moves here.
Yeah, going to be very difficult to actually manage to squeeze past there. And actually looks like he's dropped back slightly. I think he tried to go for a move, and it has cost him some straight line speed here. Obviously, we know the Aston Martin's a little bit slow in a straight line anyway, but he's pushing back up behind again under braking.
Just a note in the back, we don't have to switch, but Pitchick is out of the pits, and I would imagine that Pitchick is fueled up for the end of this race, if the car can handle it, and we'll just go for the long strategy, the big stint.
At this point, I think that's kind of all he could do, isn't it? I think it's the only way he's going to recover. I mean, and this is not what he wants for his championship standings. So we've seen him climbing quite nicely. Obviously in second place. Shabanov, his main rival, in first. First in the championship, second on the circuit as we speak. So he's massively being outscored by his rival.
Just watching some of the other cars, Bogoroditsky running offline the whole way down the main straight. I wonder, is there an attempt to cool tires at this stage? I see the track has dropped a degree, down to 19 again. We're still projected heavy rain for the next 30 minutes. But I wonder if tire wear's maybe an issue, maybe getting burnt up around some areas of the track.
I mean, quite possibly some of these guys that have pushed really hard from the get-go, I mean, you think they would have been putting their tyres to the test straight away, might not have been able to get such a good sort of warm-up on them. They might have just baked them straight away, possibly. Or he might have just been offline trying to make sure that Caracas can't get in his slipstream, possibly. Even though he's a bit further back, he might have just been thinking, if I'm offline, I'm less likely to be towed by someone else.
It absolutely.
Trying to see if there's any close battles going on a bit further back. Oh, I think we've now lost Jay Fang officially as well. Unable to click on him. I mean, I'm not surprised if we did lose him.
Not at all. Not at all. That was yeah. We'd be worried about the drivers if this was real life. It was that heavy and a crash right at the end of the straight line as well, even before the braking zone.
I think
Big
if that
impact.
if that had been a real race, I think that would have been a red flag. I can't see there really being much in the way of survivability on that one. So yeah, very lucky that we witnessed a crash of that significance in a simulation.
What has happened, Yannick Roof, down in 20th place, on the tail of Mark Bastida, in that Lamborghini?
We did see him driving on the grass earlier, didn't we?
We did see him pick up it. Yeah, okay.
So maybe he's having some sort of issues, possibly. Although he's gaining on the back of Bastida, it looks like from the image.
Oh, clearly has pace.
Yeah, going for the outside. And Cadil sneaking into the back of the shot as well here. Oh, side by side.
I think Bastida has to let him go. Roof gives a little bump just for bumping a kiss, just to say thanks very much.
And Cadil going around the outside of him as well, trying his luck. He'll have the inside for the entrance of the chicane if he can hold on to it, but I think the Bentley's just managing to stretch its legs, possibly.
I don't know, Cadil has the inside here, but the Bentley's good on the brakes, and Cadil can't make the move stick just yet. But just remember, Cadil in 21st, they'd start 28th. Still room for manoeuvres.
Possibly. He is. He looks like he's sort of more in control. Doesn't appear to be pushing his car all the way to the edge of the circuit. Very much driving within himself, I think. I wonder if he's now sort of going for the option of play the long game, just try and catch up with everyone again.
I wonder if the Ferraris are burning through their tires a bit. I know we thought Bogoritsky was maybe just not giving Caracas the tow, but we're seeing Jabowski 2.5 seconds off, and Jonathan Watts has closed up to 6/10 on him now.
Oh goodness, okay, so let's have a little look at some of the other Ferraris, shall we, and see what's going on. McLeod and Cerrice, two Ferraris in line on circuit with each other. Cerrice looks like he's got some damage, I think, definitely on that front end. Yeah, definitely some front end damage there. Not sure if he has any other, maybe the odd scuff on the side. And McLeod as well got some front end damage, so it's going to be a bit difficult to work out if they're offline. Well, yeah, they are. They're sort of both going for the middle of the track, leaving it to the last minute to go across. So yeah, possibly the Ferraris are struggling with some tyre temp issues.
And Jonathan Watts will fancy this. Get on the brakes, the Mercedes. And Jabowski just, well, currently 7/10 now. Rodriguez was having a look on Murtasov into I'm going to look up the actual Prima Virulenta. I'm just going to call it the chicane, turn 1. Okay?
Yeah, first chicane, second chicane's fine, I think, at this point. They're too complicated to say. It's sort of in a quick hurry, I think.
It's a challenge. Casting, right? We meet challenges. We could, maybe learn Italian before the race to pronounce these things properly. But, unfortunately, we have other things to do.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, let's see what else is happening on the grid. James Kiley, 6/10 off fan favourite Merville, with York and Caracas further afield, and Noguera in the Boatley up behind. Starting to little gap this as we still got this like little train of cars in the midfield, from almost 7th downwards, 8th onwards, but little gapping starting to appear as and I wonder how much strategy is going to play a part here, because with more time to play with, they can try something different. I wonder, will they try 1 stops or 2 stops? Is that going to be fast? 2 stops?
Oh, quick one.
We have a yellow flag, 62.
Under attack. He was at Cowley up the inside into turn 1. Not able to make it stick. Mirveld holds on to it. So side by side, Noguera in the background, hoping that these two might come together and he can get a bit of an advantage and maybe to get past the pair of them. But yeah, Cowley still now holding on to the inside through Curva Grande. And he does it. He makes it stick. He is out in front going into the first chicane. Yeah, and
cuts that nose off fan favourite Merveld and takes the place.
Yeah. Oh, bit of a mistake there from Mirveld on the exit as well, wasn't it? I don't know. He had a bit of a slide, I think, tried to get on the power a little bit too early.
Well, suddenly you have a few clear seconds up ahead of you, and then immediately you've got a big James Cowley Aston Martin in front of you. The whole balance of the car, that McLaren that has a little bit of downforce suddenly affected, a little bit like it hasn't been so far lately. And Noguera, the Noguera in that Boatley completely unperplexed by downforce. Just fancying a little look now. I'm afraid we've lost Veldman. Nico Veldman has had an off down this back straight, pitted and disconnected, I'm afraid.
Okie dokie. So, well, still then that leaves our man at the back currently is Pitchick, but I think he's obviously going to inherit some positions simply because of some people that have left. Obviously, yeah, we lost Climbs as well. So weirdly, Climbs is still showing in... Well, I was going to say 24th, but yeah, he is also showing in 24th. Very odd. Need to wait for the timing screen to sort themselves out a little bit there. Because it's currently showing me a couple of people in 24th and a couple of people in 23rd on my switching screen. So, bit of a confusion there. We'll wait and see what happens with that. So if
it helps, I see the exact same thing.
Well, I mean, at least it's not just my end. It's always a bit of a nervous thing there. As today we spent frantically trying to sort the Wi-Fi out, as for some reason mine just decided to completely die, and then fixed itself with apparently no reason. So there we go.
Oh, and Timasorus, so last weekend, or weekend just past, you had a brilliant trip, right, to a motorsporting event, a real-life motorsport event.
Yes, got to go and watch the penultimate meet for the British touring cars. So that was at Donington Circuit. So obviously we've all seen it here in game, and it's a bit good in real life. The Craner curbs in real life are a little bit good to watch. It's got to be said. It was, but definitely gave me an appreciation of just the changing gradient in that circuit. When you're playing in game, you're aware that you're going up and down hills, but actually surprising in real life how steep sort of the inclines and declines are on that. It's quite significant, and it's no wonder that people struggle with it so much there.
Absolutely fantastic. Oh, I'm just envious that you got to be at a real life track with real racing.
What would be your nearest circuit that you could go to then? Because Donington is by far not the nearest circuit to me. Oh, Rodriguez into the pits. Sorry.
Okay.
So
okay,
what would
no, we have strategy at play now. We are 30 minutes into this race, 60 to go. Rodriguez, what must be going for a long stint at the back. Maybe going for the undercut.
Quite possibly. Murdazov as well, closing up on the back of Watts a little bit into turn 1 then as well. So he's that was a decent effort by him, to be fair. See where Matt York
let's say,
is.
you know, Igor here did put it on pole, so he knows a quick way around this track. For sure. He's no stranger. He
Interesting.
has dropped back, but yeah, he still has pace in that McLaren.
I wonder if he was running a lot more fuel, possibly. I mean, a lot less fuel in quali, and now he's got that heavier load. Obviously, I know he's done 30 minutes of racing, but let's say he was just going to do a split of 45 and then go again. I mean, his car would still be reasonably heavy compared to what it would be if he hadn't gone for a pit. Cadil come out in... Not Cadil, sorry. Rodriguez come out in, I think, a 20th place, 21st, so he's dropped right down the field. So, going to be a battle from the back, isn't it?
It absolutely. You know what? You could go for the undercut here, but the problem is the entire midfield are all within a second or 2 seconds within each other, the whole way down the grids. So there's no slot to come. Well, I mean, the only slot to come out in with clear space is almost last. And as Rodriguez is saying right now, he's got a good third, maybe quarter of the track before the next car up in 21st, Fernandez. So he's going to hope that this strategy pays off. I think he'll need some good outlaps here and get the tires up to speed. And
at least
try
he
and
won't have
catch
to
people off
defend
the
or
strategy.
anything. He can just work on getting his tyres up to temp nice and gradually, not overdoing it. It's still looking like, for the next half an hour of this race, it's still showing full rain. So it's not looking like it is drying up whatsoever yet. And these guys that have obviously already pitted, they're hoping it stays wet the whole way through. There's no way that they're going to be trying to go the whole way. And obviously, we saw Watts at the Nürburgring made the mistake of trying to stay out on wets, thinking it was going to get wet again, but in fact, it just stayed dry and got hotter and hotter, and he ended up absolutely cooking his tyres and had punctures towards the end of the race. So he'll be hoping, I imagine this time around, that it stays wet the whole way through and he doesn't make the same tyre mistake. But
For sure. I wonder if that, on the flip side of that, have people fueled up, say, like Murtasov, who we were just talking about, have they fueled up to be able to respond to a change of conditions? If it starts to dry up, then they can stay out long enough to then make the right call at the right time to move on to dries. But yeah, no sign of it drying up in the foreseeable future. And I guess at this stage, it rained for another 30 minutes. They're going to have to pit. And it's likely they're going to have to stay on wet tires regardless. If it dries up in the last 20 minutes, time to react. We're going to have chaos. But yeah, maybe this is what we get for coming to Monza in the middle of October.
quite possibly. I mean, amazingly, in the UK, Donington October was shorts and t-shirt weather. I've managed to pick up quite a bit of sunburn. But yeah, I think it was a bit of a one-off. I think everywhere else in Europe it's going to be soggy. I mean, really had to look at, was it the Turkish Grand Prix? That was a very odd sort of weather scenario. Some very odd tyre choices going on, where it was a bit warm but a bit cold and a bit wet. So there was some very tactical driving going on. I mean, not usually my cup of tea, F1, but it was quite interesting to have a little watch on. Oh, what's going on here? Just seeing in the chat, Alex Togorosa. Oh, and an Audi does well not to change tyres.
Interesting. Let me find out whether the change of tyres is mandatory. I believe there is a mandatory change of tyres.
I thought there was. It was just tyres, and normally we do tyres, but you can't refuel. But obviously, this being a longer race, you can do both. I mean, I imagine with a full tank, these cars should be able to do around an hour, because that would be a sort of an hour-long in real life racing stint. So technically, these guys could go till the last 30 minutes without fueling. So as long as they could manage the tyres, they might be able to go that far. But again, it's risky, I think, doing it this early in the race if you're only planning on doing a single stop, because if it dries up, you're not going to be able to manage wet tyres in the dry for a full 30. But if it stays wet, these guys are in the right place.
They absolutely are. Let me try and get you a clarification on those rules. 1 mandatory pit stop, no mandatory tyre change, and refueling is allowed. So, no need to change tyres. If you want to stay out on the same set, be our guest. So people opting for a quicker stop, I guess. Jonathan Watson, Jarbowski for third on the main straight.
It's looking pretty
Jarbowski
close.
taking the defensive. He'll have to go around the outside if he fancies it. Jarbowski giving him absolutely no room, cutting him off. Little wiggle in the braking zone, and they've gone over the runoff area. Jarbowski has to take the escape, not just the escape road, just over the corner itself. What's flashing his light? I think Jarbowski will have to slow just to show that he hasn't gained an advantage here.
I would say so, because I mean he did change line quite aggressively in the braking zone and cut the nose off of Watts. Watts didn't really have anywhere to go. He was already obviously fully on the brakes and was over towards the outside of the circuit, so couldn't go any further to the left without going on the grass.
Yeah, I mean, Jarbowski has gained a second on Shilbanov in second, and pulled away a second on Jonathan Watts, so I think he'll need to just back off, but do it at the right time where he doesn't give the position. He doesn't need to give a position back. He was already in front.
Oh no, there's no need to completely sort of sacrifice the position, but actually yeah, because he's 1.4 seconds up on his best lap, well, on this lap currently. So I mean, that was clearly a massive time advantage for him. But yeah, there is the possibility that could come as a bit of a sting in the tail. There's a possibility that, especially post-race, he could see himself with quite a penalty next time round, because yeah, even without looking at the timing board, visually you can see now that he's on his own. Even with helicam, he can't see anyone else. Watts just peeking into the back of the view there, and I imagine Watts is feeling a bit hard done by there. He sort of got his nose cut off. He obviously managed to keep out of the back of Jarbowski too much, so he didn't spin him. But for his gentleman manoeuvre, he's now lost the back of him quite a lot.
And Jarbowski has just set the fastest lap of the race by a second. So maybe this is just pro strats, right? No live stewards at today's race, unlike the endurance event. But you have to think that this is going to be looked at post-race, and the stewards can dish out penalties, add a little time bonus, unless he tries to do a Max Verstappen, and yeah, I know I'm going to get a 5-second penalty, so I'll just drive faster and pull away more than 5 seconds. But Jonathan Watts has got the pace here. He's pulled it back to 9/10 again.
He has, yeah. He's really closed up on him, and I don't imagine he'll be quite as gentlemanly next time round. He's obviously seen that doesn't work, so he might be a bit more elbows out next time.
I'm excited.
It's going to affect him if Jarbowski does get a penalty and he wants to show up for the final race of the season and he comes in with a penalty. There's no avoiding it. And as you can see by how close the timing is here, even if you pick up a 15 or a 30-second penalty, you really drop down through the grid. I mean, you could be on pole and you're ending up outside the top 10, really, aren't you? You're absolutely down the line. So, and
Jarbowski, for his point of view, Pavel here is 21st in the championship. He's going to want to finish top 20, and this is the big chance for huge points to probably seal that top 20 position. And right now in third, so he doesn't want to give up that position. He doesn't want to drop any more points. This would be by far his best race finish of the season, his previous being 10th at Zandvoort, so which of course also had changeable conditions.
Yeah, again another quite a different one. Oh, quick one. Let's have a quick jump on board with Cadilcam, as he is currently 16th place. Cadilcam,
No.
16th place now. So still on the climb. McLeod about to pit in front of him, so he'll gain a position there.
The climb of Cadil. 40 minutes in, 28th to 16th. We're not even halfway through.
I think we already know who Cardinal's driver of the day is going to be at this point, I reckon. But it's been a really great drive.
And Cadil comes through to take the win. No.
I think that might be a little bit.
It's fantastic to see. Yeah.
To be fair, if
Obviously,
he
he's
takes the
got
Yarabosky line, he could do it. He's got enough time. He's got 50 minutes to do it. Takes that Yarabosky line through turn 1 and somehow doesn't pick up the penalties. He could...
Surely Jarbowski's got a track limit warning, right? There must be some kind of in-game system warning he's received. You're allowed 3 before you get a stop-go or a drive-through penalty. So Bruno Cadil just needs to do it twice. Just skip the whole chicane. 2.5 faster in each 2 laps.
Oh, Watts. Watts is on the back of him again. Yarabosky and Watts. That battle rages on down into Parabola. I can't even say the word now. Turn 8. I just hate my own tongue. I couldn't speak.
Alboreto. Parabolica.
That's the one. Alboreto's
Right,
easy
folks,
to
hold
say,
on to your
isn't it?
hats. Yeah.
Oh, we're going to see him move into turn 1. I'm not sure he's quite close enough. Let's have a look back over the wing. Watts.
Mercedes is quick here today.
Really
Will he
is.
just absolutely send it though? God, too far back now. Just 4 5/10ths, but closes in on the brakes again. Heavy braking.
And he looks really good on the exit of that chicane as well. I think if Yarabosky had been any slower, they probably would have touched each other. I'm looking over the rear wing of Yarabosky now, and Watts is having a little look up the outside. Is he trying to... Yeah, Yarabosky going defensive, trying to hold on to that line.
I think that the Ferrari is should be pretty good through some of the trickier sections, but with having to take the defensive line, he is giving up time to Shelbanov in front. That gap has extended. There's now 3.5 tenths back, and if Watts wants to move up ahead and start challenging for the higher positions, he needs to get past this Ferrari.
Yeah, he is the bottleneck, isn't he now? He is most certainly... Oh, is that Watts going up the outside? No, not able to, because Yarabosky covers the centre of the track. But again, Watts gets a little bit
Takes a
sideways.
line. Watts is sideways, but he took an alternative line through the wheel. Careful not to go on the grass there. It was definitely on the white line. Looking like he might look for an opportunity, but I think Watts just needs to position the car into Curve Alboreto and to get the best possible exit out here onto the start-finish straight. And that's where he needs to make the pass stick. And last time out, we were 4 5/10ths. Now we are 3 tenths. So another 10th closer. Another bit closer. Gained on the slipstream.
And he's
He's
under
pulled
braking.
out. Jarbowski doesn't go defensive, but
But he makes
goes
a
a
mistake
little
there.
deep into the corner, however, and a
Oh.
bump from behind.
Bit of a rubbish rejoin there, but I mean, nowhere really he could go. He was just trying to get back on the circuit.
Wow, that was close. Watts trying to hang it round the outside to get the inside, and there's another touch.
Murdazov is trying to make the most of this as well. He is closing up on the back of him. Can he jump past the pair of them? Obviously, Murdazov down to 5th now. Started in pole.
And look,
But that's not...
There's another man who's on for a great points haul that will take him from up from 35th.
That's
I mean,
not
does he?
what Watts want is it? He doesn't want to be getting caught from behind. He wanted to be pushing forward, not defending.
And will he have a little bit of damage now? There's going to be the possibility of a longer pit stop, and we're 44 minutes into this race. We're just coming up to halfway, so sure, the pit window must be open. These drivers must be thinking, okay, it's still raining. I'm going to have to pit for petrol. When do you pull the trigger? Does Jonathan Watts come in now and to get out in the space to not be behind Jarbowski?
Quite possibly. I mean, he's managed to break away from Murdazov, so he's not defending from him anymore. But we've seen his pace is clearly faster than Yarabosky and Murdazov. He's got the pace. He just can't seem to do it. And yet he's going to the inside. Yeah, he's into the pits. He's into the pits. And so is Borgodowski as well. Both of them dive into the pits.
We called it.
A quick one in the chat. We've got Sam Doctor asking, How many points do you get for every position? I'd have to look at the board for that. I've forgotten how many it is per position, to be brutally honest.
Well, Sam, it's 100 points for the win, and it scales the whole way down the grid. But let's see if we can get you the official point scoring positions.
And the next one, who's that? That is Dorami and Yeet. Is he racing against online people? I'm not sure which particular racer you're on about, but all of these guys are real race. No AI. These are all real people sat at home racing, sort of white-knuckled. Just a quick one now, on board with Matt York and Jay Cowley. So this is the two Aston Martins going at each other. Really, really close now. Cowley all over the back of York, although he manages to get a half-decent run and just open up his gap a little bit so he can breathe ever so slightly.
Just a little impact. You remember Rodriguez, Arquez Rodriguez? He pitted very early.
Yes.
Bogrotsky has just come out of the pits ahead of Rodriguez, which will probably be disappointing for Rodriguez. But
I would
the
imagine
big undercut hasn't quite worked.
No, that undercut hasn't quite worked for him. Again, though, he's obviously where he pitted so much earlier, although he must have been carrying a lot more weight. Like I said, he's got to be carrying almost a full fuel load, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Go from where he went in. Be interesting to see Matt York and Cowley staying out again for another bit. All of our leaders, obviously, I think they're holding on as late as possible to jump into the pits. But Estate's still saying another 30 minutes of solid rain, so I think we might end up seeing a fully wet race here at Monza.
I'm just speaking to the weatherman now, and he doesn't suggest there's going to be any change. He expects this rain to carry on. Cadil 13th. Just want to throw that out there.
Jump on with Cadil Cam. There he is, 13th place.
Obviously hasn't pitted yet, staying out. As we see look at the top 10, there's 6 McLarens and then Cadil in the top 10. I'm not sure any of the McLarens have pitted yet, so impressive fuel tanks today from the McLarens.
Yeah, obviously they handle a decent tank, sort of full the whole way round. I say, I know some cars struggle more than others with the fuel load, but obviously the positioning of the fuel tanks in those is pretty decent. Just looking at, I think the ambient temperatures come up by 1. So track and ambient both. How are we looking? Both 18 now. So who is this? Mikhail Nemsak. Hey guys, is it difficult to become a sim racing commentator, and what scarce set of skills should one have? Oof, well, they should definitely have more skills than me. I'm just a blabbermouth. I'd say that's probably the only thing, and I somehow managed to just stay excited the entire way through. I mean, what's the best way of getting into it? I mean, I was lucky I kind of fell into it, really. It was just a community I was part of a little while ago when I used to race on Xbox. They were just looking for someone to just stream without any commentary, and I just thought, I've always been a bit of a blabbermouth, let's have a go. Oh, both the Aston Martins in, Jake Cowley and York, both in. So they obviously decided to come in at the same time rather than go for an undercut. They just pitted at the exact same time. And so they were literally half a second apart on the circuit. How did you get into it, Cardinal?
I was hoping you would just carry on taking that answer.
Sorry.
Honestly, Miguel, it's just about, in terms of the AOR racing community, there's people who just stream the different tier races themselves privately. All AOR really asked was for an example of you doing it previously. Do you have a nice, clean, clear mic voice? Can you talk clearly? Do you have the internet connection and the soft hardware to maintain and cast races such as Timasorus is doing so professionally right now?
Well, I don't know about that. I'm literally
and
on
honestly,
the stairs.
yeah. And there's some of the guys, you know, I've seen Rage, who does the tier 1, tweeting his pictures of the printout of his tracks, and then pages of the lineups of the cars and the racers, which I kind of love the idea of. I'm just using tabs with that kind of information on it that I can refer to very quickly. But yeah, you just kind of luck into this thing, and it goes from there.
It's very odd, especially getting used to just talking and there not being anyone there in front of you. And it's even more odd when I first started doing it. I mean, I only had viewers of maybe 5 or 6, maybe 15 on a really good night. And it's really strange commentating as if you've got an entire TV audience watching. Obviously, it's a bit different here with Apex Online Racing. It's a very big community and quite a large following, so it's very nice. And you do feel a bit more in the zone as you're aware there's lots of people sat at home listening and watching. But yeah, it's just a case of you just got to just get into it, just give it a go. Even if you're just doing it on your own streams, just jump into a race and just have a bit of a commentate. Really, just have a bit of a go at it.
And
you
as
either
you
love
say,
it or you hate it. I
Panda,
think.
yeah, exactly right. Productive Panda, I think you're right. You got to have fun with it. There's no way we could sit here with sim racing, not sim racing. Yeah, we're not sim racing, and I'm guessing, you know, Timasorus, you enjoy racing and enjoy computer games and sim racing.
Yes,
as I do. So
full blown nerd.
You just gotta have it. You gotta have an interest, right?
I mean, for me, I think obviously, I mean, predominantly, well, like I say, most of my real world racing viewing has always been, to be honest, it's mostly been British touring cars for years now. That's always been my main thing. I actually only really started watching a lot of the GT3 stuff when I bought myself a wheel during lockdown last year, and that's when I started doing commentary and stuff as well, just a little bit. And it's just great fun, isn't it? And I just said, this is the kind of stuff I love. I can't stand football, but I could watch 24 hours of Spa, even all the night stages, and just, I'm happy to do it. I can just sit and watch it all,
yeah.
much to my partner's dismay.
Fastest man on track right now, Grantas Caracas, a 2/10 faster than anyone out there. As I say that, Shalabanov goes 3/10 quicker than him again. Those McLarens still with pace in the tank, still not pitting, and now take up 6 of the top 7 positions. And Cadil in 11th.
So
do these McLarens need fuel?
Got those. I mean, maybe because they're British cars, they're just running off of wet. Maybe they're just running off of water.
Hydrogen, right? They're just sucking up the wet, turning it into fuel somehow. I don't know. Incredible strategy.
They're doing really, really well. I think Murdazov managing to hold on to 5th as well.
Shabaiskis and Caracas have both skipped over that chicane. Both one after each other. The second chicane there. I don't know what happened. Neither are close to each other, but I wonder the cars must be light now. I mean,
yeah.
We don't have any Porsches in the field at all, which is a stark contrast to Tier 1. But they go under real changes when they start to get light on the fuel. Maybe the McLarens are starting to feel a heck of a lot different.
Oh, Matt York straight lines the first chicane there, going up through the... what do you want to call it? I can't think of the word. What's the word for it? The escape road.
Escape road, yep.
As him and, yes, it was just pointed out in the chat. Where are we looking at this one? Where has Cowley gone? Cowley, yeah, he's back in 19th now, so he's lost a couple of positions.
He sure has. We're starting to see a couple of drivers make a few mistakes.
I wonder if he had a longer pit stop. Maybe he needed more fuel, or he had maybe some damage we were unaware of. And Matt York's just
I saw him come out. I saw him come out. I'm pretty sure I did anyhow. I think there's been just some mistakes made or some incidents. Maybe the standing water has got worse, if anything, because we saw Caracas and Jabowski make the mistakes over the chicane, are not able to slow the car enough.
Quite possibly. I mean, going on the dash, looking forward, it still looks absolutely miserable out there. Wiper's still going full speed for Jay Cowley now. Obviously, I know the pit stops play a bit of a difference, but obviously Watts, who we saw battling right up there by the front, he's now running in 15th, so he is our leading pitted driver. And then Matt York in 16th is our second pitted driver. So those guys, there's about 4 seconds between them, but that's a big old jump up the order, or a big drop down the order for Watts. So I'm not sure what's gone on there. It'll be interesting to see once the front runners start pitting themselves if they drop down so much. But Cowley 0.3 up at the moment on his current lap. So what has he just put in there? A 1:55.3 he's done.
Tim, I don't know if this is working for Jonathan Watts. His last lap was a 55.3. The leaders are doing 54.9s and a 54.7. He's losing time. Those McLarens are going to come into the pits. They are likely going to stay ahead of Jonathan Watts at this rate. Which,
Is it
and at the same time, yeah, we are... How long? 56 minutes done now?
Yeah, around 56 minutes.
So, I mean, surely pit stops must be imminent.
Oh, there we go. Yarabowski into the pits. So he was one of the leaders, and he has been our dominant Ferrari this evening. He has gone in, so would be pretty interesting to see where he comes back out.
Jonathan Watts, remember, and Jarabowski had that intense fight. I think Jonathan Watts pitted early to try and undercut, get that skip. So let's see, number 77 is currently just heading onto that back straight now.
It's going to be tight, isn't it? Depending on what Yarabowski's doing. Maybe if he's doing tyres and fuel. Oh, Yarabowski's pit light has already gone out. So it's still saying he's in the pits. But he's cleared his mandatory.
I think he's going to be comfortably ahead. Jonathan Watts just heading around Alboreto now onto the start-finish straight as Jarabowski is away and into that first chicane.
Oh, yeah, he's a long way back, isn't he, Watts? So whatever Watts did has not gone to plan, and he'll be very disappointed with that after such a brilliant first stint.
He'll be wondering what's happened to my strategy. That the undercut has not worked today, and there that spells ominous for the rest of the cars up at the front. You know, Matt Whitburn, Shell Banov obviously have been clear leaders throughout this day. That gap between them ranging between 2 and 3 seconds back and forth, but Caracas 10 seconds off them in third now. He's an opportunity to come out ahead of Watts as well.
I'm really intrigued as to just how far Whitburn and these guys can actually go, because yeah, it seems like the McLarens just, yeah, they're just running on air. They just keep going. I can't imagine they've got anything left in their fuel tanks at this point. You know, it's been nearly a full hour. I know the cars should be able to do just over an hour, but they've been going for the full hour now.
Well, we saw Caracas 3 races ago, I think. Was it run out of fuel on the last lap?
Yeah.
Remember?
That was his opening stint with us this season as well. I think he went from 5th to 13th. Ran out of fuel, I believe, in the final chicane at Nürburgring, as was sort of flicking back through the cars to see who was coming across the line. And suddenly I lost Caracas, and it was because he was tumbling down the order. And yet he literally rolled across the line at about 5 miles an hour. So
we can laugh about it now because Caracas has since won a race and finished second. So, you know, he's justified it. He's regained his stature.
Just as a quick one, I hadn't realised how close Shabalanov is to Whitburn. He's pretty close, actually, on the track. He's got a back marker between him. He's got one back marker, but being very, very respectful of the back marker and moving out the way, hasn't once slowed Shabalanov down.
But yeah, McLeod is providing a lovely tow there. McLeod currently in 21st. I suspect he'll probably give way into the first chicane. Shalabanov moving across, making the most of that slipstream to try and make up time. Just 2.3 seconds between the front two. When I said McLeod would give way in the first chicane, I was wrong.
Did he? I don't think he's quite close enough, really. I mean, there you go. He's moved to the outside there. He's obviously realised at this point, let's just make it easy. Having a quick look, Neil M in the chat. Have they forgotten to refuel? I don't imagine they've forgotten. I think they are probably just running the tanks right down to right near the end. I said the car should be able to do at least a 60-minute stint in real life. So depending on what map they're running and how they've been driving, they should be able to. They should be all right for a little bit longer. But I don't think we're going to see many more laps before these front leaders have to come in. I can't see them. Quick one, going to jump on board with the ever-present Bruno Cadilcam up into ninth position. He obviously hasn't pitted yet, but still he's made it into the top 10 at the moment.
Cadil dominance. If he keeps this up, we're naming a corner after Cadil. Forget Alboreto, Michele. It's Curva Cadil.
Ooh, I like that. It sounds pretty good. It rolls off the tongue reasonably well, that Curva de Kiel. Curva de... Oh, I can't even say the word. Cadil.
It rolls off the tongue.
Oh, God.
Let's...
It's because we've reached the 60-minute marker, and at this point, normally, it's like, oh, yeah, go and have a drink and stuff. But no. Still got another 28 minutes and 33 seconds left.
Indeed. And bad news for Jonathan Watts. He is 6/10 down on Matt Whitburn's time. And Matt Whitburn, the race leader, is in the pit. And Shalabanov has stayed out.
So this is going to be the one to watch, isn't it? It's going to be Shalabanov. Can he... Well, I mean, he's not going to get round, is he, in time? But it's going to be interesting to see where Whitburn comes out. Oh, Mirveld into the pit as well. It's a fan favourite. He's in.
Fan favourite Mirveld into the pits from 5th. It's when Shalabanov pits. It's where he's going to come out. Oh, Whitburn is...
He's trying to come out while Cadill's still coming in. I mean, as long as Whitburn gets... I mean, yep, there you go. He's managed to do that. I thought we were going to see a little bit of an issue there, but he's just
I presume
away with it.
Nobody was slowed up there, I presume.
Maybe, because he did have to drop in behind, didn't he?
Yeah.
So there is this possibility.
So we're starting to see those pits. And let's see, where has Whitburn come out? Whitburn has pitted and come out into 5th place.
That's
6th. He just dropped.
Yeah, that's a big effort, that is. That really shows how dominant they have been so far. That's,
no, he's dropped it. He is. Cadil's ahead.
What's going on here? Yep, Cadil's ahead, up to 7th place now, according to the timing screen. Just having a little look. So, guys that haven't pitted, we've got Fernandez, who's currently running in 12th position. He's in the McLaren. Bastida running in 10th position. He's in the Bentley, so he hasn't pitted yet.
Sorry, Shalabanov is setting the fastest lap of the race. Shalabanov is currently holds the fastest lap, but was going quicker and is into the pits.
Right.
He has put in a big in lap.
This is the one to watch, isn't it? It's going to be... Oh, I think that's Caracas coming into the pits as well. Yes, and Murdazov all coming into the pits. Oh, Murdazov really closes up on the brake in there.
Yeah,
right.
It's the McLarens can't go on any longer. But Shalabanov lighting up those tires right just on the last lap before pitting. So let's see, where is...
Oh, Mrak also into the pits as well.
Matt Whitburn is coming round Curva Cadil, the last corner now. And that feels a little closer than what we had earlier with Jonathan Watts.
Yeah, that's definitely closer. Okay, the pit light has gone out for Shabalanov, but
Whitburn is crossing the start-finish straight.
Oh, Shabalanov's coming out, so Shabalanov in front, but he isn't going to have the pace. Surely he can't defend.
Whitburn
No, he can't.
has the pace.
He's gone past. Whitburn flew past him down towards turn 1.
Wow, and it is absolutely closer, as you can see. They were 2.5 seconds apart going in. Shalabanov put a terrific in-lap in. Whitburn drives past him into the first chicane. Fantastic strategy and result. Excellent effort from Shalabanov, though.
Yeah,
Credit to
that was
him.
a strong effort. How quickly can he turn on his tyres, though, and get after Whitburn? If he can do it, if he can get his tyres switched on in a lap or two and not let the gap get away too far, we could really see it on all the way to the line here. If he can't get the temp up in them tyres, get the brakes going, then he might be in a little bit of trouble.
Absolutely. This is an important lap for Matt Whitburn. If he is to take the lead, or take the race win, I guess. Steinhauser still hanging out there. Muscat and Roof. Incredible they're still out there. Lamborghini. I think that Roof must have pitted earlier. But either way, important lap for Whitburn. 1.6 seconds the gap now. It was previously 2.5 seconds. He needs to use that extra lap of tire pressure to get whatever he can on Alexei Shalabanov, the 727 car.
Steinhauser's still out. He's just gone past the pit entrance again. So that is nearly 66 minutes that car has done on one tank of fuel and on the same set of
let's
tyres.
just say, it is a mandatory pit stop, so fueling is optional. Tire changing is optional, but you must stop. You must register a pit stop. So
Gotta go in and stop, haven't you?
yeah, even if it's a splash and dash. Steinhauser could earn himself some really respectable points.
Yeah, I think it was race one. He did really well. I think. Oh God, what race was that? That would have been Kailami. I believe he did really well at Kailami. Where is Steinhauser in the lists? Yeah, he got a second place at Kailami. Really quite a dominant race as well.
I'm just looking at the chat, Neil with Cadilica, like that.
That's pretty good. And it's the same corner. You say you were going up. You named turn 8 after him with.
It's Curva Cadil. I see how you struggled to say it again.
Oh God, I can't say the words. Oh, who's that? Fernandez. He's got himself a stop-go 30. I thought I just saw him in the pits. So whether or not he's
speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah.
Oh, that's disappointing. Daniel Fernandez will have to serve that within the next 3 laps.
Yeah, he's really not got a lot of time.
And only 22 minutes left.
Whitburn, what was he now looking at? 1.2 seconds ahead of Shabanov at this moment.
That was 1.6. Shabanov will now have those tires as much as up to temperature as he can get. As I noticed, the track temperature has dropped again to 17. Things are getting cooler
gone as well, hasn't it? Oh, looking at it, it is was it 7:15 in game time? So getting into the sort of early evening now. Obviously starting to affect the overall temps of everything. Just having a little look a bit further down. McLeod and Favre in the pits.
Cadil's pitted and has come out in 18th, just behind Door, our race or our tier coordinator.
A quick jump on with them, shall we? Let's see.
Oh, we're going Cadil cam. Yes.
Well, actually, I was going to go door cam, but then what we can do is we can look back over the wing of Door towards Cadil. So technically it's door cam, but it's there's Cadil as well. So we're pleasing everybody at once.
I love that we have ready-made puns and analogies for Door if Cadil makes the move here, or will he close the door? I mean, who's going to find out?
Knocking on the door?
He is certainly knocking. We love a pun.
Oh, he's not quite close enough, is he? But we really closed up under braking there. Good lord. The Cadil absolutely epically late on the brakes into turn 1. I can't believe he got the car stopped compared to Door then. Like, that was insane.
And there's another strategy call the drivers have to make is what brakes do they try and risk it with? Normally there are wet weather brakes here, but did they Did they know? Did they think, okay, what if it dries out? Do I set it on bricks 2 or 3? It's a longer race. It's going to have more brick wear. So these last 20 minutes, as we just take now, doors gone wide.
Good run there by Cardinal.
Has a look. He has opened the door. It's not the... Oh, this is the run up to Ascari. This would be the DRS zone in Formula 1. Nogueira just up the field.
Oh, Cardinal looking there, but not quite able to.
There's just no room here. Stop and go cleared by Fernandez.
Oh, and that's a really good line there by Door. And I almost want to say that's a bit of knock door run. He's managed to get away. Somewhere out there, there's youngsters listening to these terrible dad jokes and they're cringing, taking psychic damage from these awful lines. Oh, Cardinal tries to go to the outside, a little bit late on the brakes there. And he just ended up pushing out wide and losing that sort of run into...
Yeah, I think we've lost time there. I think, I mean, we've seen that kind of move in Zandvoort with a sort of banked curve where they would take a wider line to slingshot out into the straight, but no, we do have the Monza banking, but not used on this track format, obviously. Oh, I'd love to see that. That'd be a fun novelty race and a bit of a difficult chicane there for Cardinal. We've lost a bit of time.
I just jumped away, I'll be brutally honest. I jumped back to Steinhauser, who has now pitted and come out in 10th place, just in front of York. So it'd be interesting to see, again, York is in a battle with another Aston Martin. He seems to have been squabbling with them the whole way through.
You're right, a little fight, but just behind them too, between Marak and Bogodorski.
Oh yes, that is very close with those two. So 20 minutes left of the race. Well, under 20 minutes left of the race. We could quite easily see some moves there.
Bogodorski flashing the lights as if to say, hey, heads up, Gasper, I am going to make a move here. And
I'll be a little bit careful though, aren't you, with the flashing. If you can actually, within the Apex Online Racing community, I believe you can be punished for over flashing and just mobbing the back of someone. And you were saying earlier on about you think that the weather might be getting worse. So on the dash of Bogodowski, and yeah, especially in the spray, that is worse than earlier. It's getting wetter. Oh, and a mistake there from Marak. Goes very wide off the racing line. Managing to hold it together though. But Bogodowski definitely in the slip. You can hear him hitting the puddles the whole way down. Like every once in a while you can hear that tearing at the arches. Oh yes, and now we're going to see a move here. Does it into braking. Can Marak come back to him on the out? No, he can't. He stays behind. And Bogodowski takes away 11th position. God, 17 degrees all the way around at the moment. That is absolutely nothing. Those tyres must be so cold.
Absolutely. And Bogodowski just had that move made, I think. It just lined up the whole way down that start-finish straight. I think Gasper Marak knew he was coming. He certainly signalled himself and tried to switch back, but doesn't. It looks like Bogodowski's on a charge.
It's so tight on the exit of that first chicane. I mean, unless the driver in front makes a mistake, there really isn't much room to get the cut back there, is there? And even if you manage to get, so like you're saying, that switchback, you're on the outside for that long right-hander, and so you've got to try and hang it out all the way around the outside and hope that you can get the inside end into the chicane, but it's a long old way to go next to someone, and very easy to make a mistake. And I think, yeah, a little mistake there from Marak, and Bogodowski finally able to break free.
Murtasov is in the pits again.
Ooh.
What's happened to Igor Murtasov? And in fact, has been in the pits for a while because they are in 20th.
Jump back. Is there any obvious damage? No. I mean,
Has maybe been fixed at this stage. It looks like an issue. Something has happened.
Yeah,
I can go take a look if you like.
Yeah, oh, is he moving? No, who's that? Muscat, who was up in third, obviously, is finally pitted. He's coming out the pit. Who is he going to be coming out for? I think that was... Who was that? That was a... What position are you coming out in there, Muscat? Oh, God, that was a little bit risky. He pulled across the front then of... Who was that? That was Roof, wasn't it? Yes, it was. He pulled across the front of him. Obviously trying to take the main line going into that corner, but yeah, a bit risky. He could have quite easily caused quite a pile up then. Where is Muscat down to now? Is this 11th, 12th? I want to say he's going to be in 13th, Muscat. 12th position. There we go. It sorted itself out. But he has now got Roof and Nagera, and Nagera having a bit of a stinker this time round. Obviously qualified really well. I think it was 4th or 5th, wasn't it, on the grid? Especially after we had that dropout earlier on from Cardinal.
Tim, we've missed a big accident between Murdasov and Jarbowski.
Oh, no,
down
have
into...
we?
Murdasov was right behind Jarbowski, and I don't know, Murdasov maybe misjudged the braking, but right into the back at turn 1.
Oh.
And Jarbowski was sent did a little 360 pirouette, and Murdasov went through the off road, but obviously has a good chunk of damage.
Right. So what did you say? Murdasov went into the back of Jarbowski, sorry.
That's right, yes.
Right. Actually, yeah, the back of Jarbowski's Ferrari looking a bit scuffed. Still running in 4th. I don't know what his times are looking like. He did a 1:55.48 last time round.
6/10 down on 3rd place, so losing time a little. Fan favourite Van Merveld, though, running similar times behind, so seems to have a good handle on 4th position right now. Obviously, we've... Jonathan Watts has pulled himself back up to 6th after... I guess the pit stops have happened now.
Yeah, it looks like everyone has done their one mandatory, so... It hasn't gone awfully for Watts. It could have gone better, his pit strategy.
I tell you who it has gone well for. Championship leader by 1 point, Alexei Shelbanov. Right?
Yeah.
I know there's 1.4 seconds off the lead. Yeah, Alexei could challenge for the lead, and certainly that gap is much narrower than it was before the pit stops, but I would, if he holds this now, that is a big, solid points haul. With one race left to go, and pit check the championship rival, well...
That's the thing, at this point, he doesn't even need to go for it, does he? Because you think, what is Matt Whitburn in front of him, down in 12th place with 692 points overall. No, sorry, that was his racing number. I do apologise, I read the completely wrong number out there. So, oh, and now I've lost him. There we go. He's got 200... No, he hasn't. Oh, I'm just going to go quiet for a moment. I can't read. I can't read anymore. I've lost my mind. Matt Whitburn is who we're looking at, isn't it? He has got 193 points in this championship, and obviously then Yesha Balanov is he's got 420. So he doesn't need to take that position away. It's not a big enough bonus for risk, really, is there? Like, the risk reward on it is so minimal that he might as well just stay where he is and bag the points. I mean, if he can get past Whitburn easily and cleanly, great, but there's no point going for the fight. He's 12 seconds ahead of Caracas in 3rd. Another great show from Caracas, to be fair.
Do you know what? Caracas 3rd is the only spot on the podium he hasn't achieved yet. In only, what is it? He is 9th. Yeah, 9th in the championship. So this would be 3 podiums in a row.
And he could end up getting a 1, 2, 3 on his, well, first in his first. Oh, no. I just noticed there was a 13th one there. I was going to say, I thought for a moment he got first in his first, second in his second, possibly a 3rd in his 3rd. But it's wrong. You've ruined it, Cadil. You've done me in.
Cadilino. Hi from Brazil, says Chris Board. Oh, Go ahead.
A quick one. On board with Matt York under attack from Borgodowski after he got past Marag. Borgodowski has come up behind Matt York. Great guns blazing. So could see a bit of a change here for 8th position and possibly even 7th, because Steinhauser has not escaped the grasp of York either. So no, carry on with what you were saying. I do apologise. I just changed the camera to the battle and wanted to get everyone up to speed on what was going on.
Absolutely love seeing those 3 cars fighting it out. I suspect we'll see a change of position amongst those 3 pretty soon. Just a shout out Chris Borge. Hi from Brazil. Absolutely. Hi, Chris from Brazil. That's a big old place you're from. Good to have you tuning in. Miguel, that was a roof move.
I think that was regarding who was it that came out the pits, and it was Muscat came out the pits and pulled across the front of. Was it Roof who pulled across? It must have been. Yeah, I think it might have been. Sort of came out the pits in the braking zone, pulled out in front of him in turn 1. Oh, these 3 all up on each other now. Matt York obviously responding to Borgodowski and trying to pull away, and equally Borgodowski really closing up on the back of Yorkie still.
I love the team name for York. York Sports Racing. Lovely stuff. Byron Walker, 48 people watching, 33 likes. Can we get some more people? Absolutely. Great shout out. Drop a like, subscribe for more, all that, ring the bell. All the usual YouTube things to say.
I haven't quite started videos by going, hey guys. I haven't quite started doing that, but who knows, maybe eventually I will. I do need to work on my intros, as a lot of the time I've got it all planned out in my head and then I go to speak and I fall to pieces. Oh, come on, cameras.
Hang on. Deal cam.
I can't look away quite now. Borgodowski is right on the back of York. 0.3 between them. We're actually going to have to maybe change cam. Looking forward from Borgodowski now into the braking zone. Into Ascari. He's had a good exit. Not too much exit curb as well. We might be able to see a move here into the Cadilla Borica, whatever we called it. I can't even remember anymore.
Cadilla Borica.
That's the one.
I have to say, Borgoditsky has a looks so quick here today in the wet. And a good run on York here. I really like the livery. It's exactly the livery I've made for myself for iRacing.
So, oh, really? Did you copy it from him exactly?
No. I had it last year for the Formula 3 class.
Okay.
Look at these guys. Absolutely toe-to-toe.
It does look like that's where Steinhauser struggles, is into turn 1. He's not quite able to match the same speed as York going in, but coming out. Oh, here we go. We might see a move here into the chicane.
I think York goes a little defensive.
I don't know, he's gone right across onto the main racing line. He's obviously just far enough away that he feels comfortable just covering the main line.
Only 1.5 tenths between Nikita and Matt here.
Nothing is there, nothing at all between these guys. It's saying it's been just shy of an hour and a half's worth of racing. 6 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. And they're so close. Oh, Murdazov still in the pits, isn't he? And Favre as well. I'm trying to see.
Steve Favre. Yeah, looks... Doesn't look good. Still connected, but unfortunately, I don't think taking any further part in this race. Murdazov now 7 laps down.
So possibly taken on some damage and unable to continue the fight. Although, like we said, we do quite often see in these longer races. Oh, big move and a bit of a nudge there from Borgodowski. Tries to go up the inside of Matt York. Matt York covering it nicely though, there through turn 8. And fair play to them. They managed to hold out. Oh, just a massive spider run on my arm. That was awful. Sorry.
Oh,
I just looked,
that is absolutely horrific.
I felt something on my arm and looked down. And I was just like, good lord, look at the size of that thing.
Sorry for any arachnophobes on chat. Borgoditsky, absolutely not afraid to get his elbows out. is he? He, when he needs to be, muscles his way through when he has half a chance.
I'm really surprised we haven't seen a bigger lunge from Borgodisky yet. I mean, yeah, like we said, he can get his elbows out. He's been very respectful. York, a very clean racer himself. We've seen him do some pretty amazing drives through the field before. Had a really good start at, where was that? First race of the season. Really good start, and then I think he got clipped by someone, maybe lap 3, and then had to fight his way from the back again, and didn't manage to get himself inside, I think, the top 10 that time round. But yeah, his first lap, I think he gained like 8 places or something when it was back at Kailami. But
wow,
yeah, it was really good. I think he actually put up a clip on his personal YouTube just of that, how many positions in one lap can I gain sort of thing, and it was really well put together. But yeah, then he had an incident, and then that was it. Yeah. Oh, trees disturbing our view. Borgodowski seems to have lights off. Oh, good run by Borgodowski there, though. Definitely in the toe.
Now, as you're saying, Matt York is 15th in the championship, and you do not get there by luck, especially in a field and championship as big as this one. 55 competitors in this Tier 2 league, and
that was so close.
Almost looked like he was looking for an inside line through Kit.
Yeah, we saw that a lap or two ago again, but York just knows how to cover it. He just comes across and just covers it over. Just having a look at their last lap times between them. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing between them difference-wise on the last lap. They are just identically lapping these two. But he makes a mistake. Not sure what happened there. Bogs down a bit. No, Steinhauser as well in front. So I was on board with them, so I missed what happened. I think Steinhauser held up York, and Borgodowski takes advantage and claims 2 positions. So Borgodowski 9th up to 7th. Great move.
What on earth happened? We saw polystyrene being kicked up there.
I mean, do I risk going back? I'm doing it. I'm pressing the 30-second button.
We're going for it.
Bit
We're
of a
going
freeze.
in, people.
Yeah. Oh, there was a bump between York and Steinhauser. Oh, and to be fair, Steinhauser then also had a bump with Borgodisky as he passed. I think it was a case that York hit the back of Steinhauser a little bit, then sort of had to obviously let off the throttle. Borgodowski took full advantage and went past them. There was a flash from Steinhauser on Borgodowski as if to say, what happened there? But I mean, it was a fair pass. I think Steinhauser's starting to struggle towards the end of the race. Oh yeah, now we're back on board. York going around the outside into the Ascari chicane. Side by side through there. Oh, there's contact. There's contact. York pulls aside. He knew he made a mistake there. He's pulled to the side. Looks like he's waiting for Steinhauser to rejoin. Oh, that's a shame. But is Steinhauser? Yeah, Steinhauser rejoining. Oh, Nagari has to go to evasive there. Goes right off.
Losing a lot of positions now. York's still hanging back, waiting for...
Yeah, waiting for, and there he goes, gives the position back. I mean, very gentlemanly way to do it, but yeah, he's lost himself a lot of positions. But as we said, he's normally a very clean racer and a gentleman racer, so he's decided not to claim that position. It was always going to be risky.
Yeah, I was about to say, and now they're behind, Roof and Noguera, and that this another close fight, but we are possibly into the last couple of laps.
Yeah, I think we might have one more after this as Helicam over Whitburn now. He is, well, he's heading down into the Ascari chicane. Shabalanov 1.7 seconds behind him at the moment, so... Or 1.8 now. Okay, so he's close, but not close enough to make a move on the circuit without there kind of being some sort of intervention going on. I mean, if Whitburn makes a mistake, Shabalanov is well within striking distance, but Whitburn...
Cadill's made the move on door, just to let you know.
Oh,
he is finally through.
He is. There we go. He's done it. Can we get a Cadill cam in the chat, please? Yeah. Cadilla Grande. Sounds like a fancy coffee.
The Cadil. No, okay, that's enough. That's enough. Any other Cadil name corners you like, throw them in chat. He does. Neil M, does Borg seems to have his light off? Does that affect in-game visibility? I think in-game visibility right now is pretty difficult, regardless of the lights. Just given the amount of rain we're having today.
Yeah, let's have a quick. We can look on from his dash. I mean, I think it's bright enough that he is not going to be himself struggling for vision. But there is obviously the possibility that other drivers might not be able to see him behind so much. But it's not dark enough that he needs the lights on, as the game does have a sort of in-game warning system where it will say to you, lights on within a certain amount of laps, and if you don't, then you will get a penalty, obviously, because you could be using it to your advantage, turning your lights off so drivers couldn't see you, or just generally using it to sort of troll people mid-race.
We are on our last lap.
Matt Whitburn still holding off Shabanov, actually up to 2 seconds now. Like I said earlier, I wonder if Shabanov is just banking the points. He's got 15-second gap back to Caracas in third, so he's under absolutely no pressure himself. We're hovering over Whitburn as we speak.
Absolutely, Shabanov for the championship. Thinking about that, just needs to bring these points home, not make any mistakes, and a second place ahead of Pitchick, currently down in 18th, is a great result for Alexei. But Jack Whitburn coming around Curva Cadil and heading towards his win here at Monza.
There it is, sorted. Whitburn across the line. Oh, big power slide from him, and he's spun across the circuit there. So not entirely. Well, celebrations, I imagine, were planned, but maybe not quite that bad. There we go. Shabanov second, Caracas third, and he does manage to claim third this time. No penalties for him this race, obviously after his penalty he picked up through no fault of his own in the Endurance Series round 1 on the weekend. And Yaroboski coming across in fourth. He's our leading Ferrari, the only Ferrari in the top 5. Mirveld, fan favourite, coming across in fifth. Really well done. Watts gets himself up to 6th, so didn't go entirely to plan for him. He had a very early stop compared to the other guys around him, but to his credit, he's inside the top 10, so that's good. Borgodowski straight lines the slip road in celebration in 7th. We've got Marak already in the pits now, but he is 8th. Jay Cowley in 9th position, so he is our fastest Aston Martin. Nogueira up to 10th. So got himself back inside the top 10 after obviously had incident. I think it was lap 1, turn 1. And then had a bit of an on and off race the whole way through, but he's in the top 10. So, and then Steinhauser in 11th. Obviously, we saw him have that incident with York, who respectively finishes in 12th. We've got the Muscat in 13th. Arman Cadil in 14th. Roof in 15th. Dor 16th. Rodriguez, who's been really good most of the way through. Oh, I think he's already left. Yeah, some people I think have already left this far back. So at this point, I don't think I'm calling them up correctly. 17th was Pitchick. 18th was Bastida. 19th, Murdazov. 20th, Favre. Everyone else, I can't actually click on them now, so I think they've obviously left the server themselves. But great race for Whitburn. Dominated it, really, didn't he?
Absolutely, what a fantastic result from Whitburn. And he had it from the turn 1 when he just skipped into the lead. It was on the first lap. Murdasov was still in the lead and held it, but he made the move early on and just held it on. And Shalabanov, credit to Alexei, could have played it safe and even been more conservative in their race to hang back, but passed Murdasov as well, and absolutely went for it on his in lap to try and undercut Whitburn. Didn't quite manage it, but pulled the gap just down to half a second. It was fantastic racing, and yeah, wonderful result. Caracas, I started a long way back, but the McLarens did so well today. It's a McLaren 1, 2, 3, and 5 And Sharbuski been through the wars today. Had a couple of incidents. Even was spun around 360 degrees and with Murtasov that ended, well, yeah, that collision at turn 1, but still bringing it home in 4th. And fan favourite Merveld 5th. What a result.
So, driver of the day, who are you thinking?
I mean, everything in my spirit and soul wants to say Bruno Cadil, but I
would
think
not blame you. I would not blame you if you said it.
I think Matt Whipper's performance was dominant today. Shelabanov couldn't get past and gave it everything. He just did everything so well, and given the conditions to come out on top at this track and in the total torrential rain throughout was a masterful drive.
Yeah, everything about his actual drive and his tactics, just everything about it. The setup obviously was great as well. Yeah, I think there's no denying it. I think, our pole man probably is driver of the day. I mean, sort of, I can't really think of anyone else I'd give it to. I mean, if Watts, if his plan had come together, then I would have been sort of saying it was his. But just that's the only thing that went wrong is just his I can't even think of the word now. Not setup, is it? It's you know the word I mean. I just can't think of it anymore. My brain's gone. It's been an hour and a half of very quick talking and keeping an eye on lots of very fast action. So it doesn't look like anyone is going to be joining us in the interview box. I think all these guys are pretty burnt out from racing around Monza in the pouring rain for 90 minutes, which I think is quite fair enough. I think me and you both, Cardinal, were probably a bit burnt out after that one. That was a lot. There was a lot of racing going on there.
It was 90 short minutes of fantastic racing. I've loved it today, and especially thank you to chat for sticking with us and keeping us entertained. Mikhail Namsak, great race, great commentating, guys. Thank you very much. Keep it up. See you in the next one. Absolutely. See you there next week for our season finale. Alexei Shelbanov will be looking forward to as we head to Spa. Oh my days, Spa.
What do you reckon? Dry Spa, wet Spa, mixed conditions? What are you hoping for?
Oh, mix it up. Give me a bit of both.
Yeah, I'd quite like to see a mixed. I would quite like to see a bit of wet and dry. It'd be nice to see a bit of variance there, especially obviously Bradillion and El Rouge in the wet. Very scary. In the dry, fantastic to watch as well. It's going to be a lot. I think going to see a lot of driver warnings for track limits. Sort of tends to be what you see there. Loads of places you can go wide and pick up some track limits issues. So, right, we're going to call it a day now. Thank you ever so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure commentating for this race again for you guys. So, yeah, I'm going to say goodnight. Cadil, do you want to sign off?
Cadil, do you want to sign off?
I got Cadil on the brain. Oh, good Lord. God, no. Sorry.
We're all just Bruno Cadil tonight. Congratulations, Bruno. 14th. Anyway, right, let's get out of here. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Good night, folks.
Thanks for watching.